Hello everyone, welcome back to the second episode of Taimur Travels, the video series where I travel and I tell you about the places that I travel to. Happy New Year everyone. Growing up in LA, here in California, you really don't think of many different things other than like urban city lifestyle, movies, Hollywood, all that stuff. That's sort of what Los Angeles is known for. You kind of forget that California, especially Los Angeles, also has so many wonderful things around the area that appeal to anyone. And one of those places that I really liked and I really want to go back to is actually the Huntington Library. So this is a really cool place, very outdoorsy place located in Pasadena. So the Huntington Library is a giant educational center filled with a bunch of different artifacts and relics and science, related journals, as well as being a huge botanical garden area. Like when I say huge, I mean huge. This place is like over 120 acres, bigger than Disneyland itself, just the Disneyland resort. It's got so many different parts about it. It's got the desert garden, the jungle garden, the lily ponds, the subtropical garden, the Australian garden, the ceremonial tea garden, the Chinese garden, the Japanese garden, the rose garden, the statues, it has the Shakespearean garden, it's got the botanical labs, you can transfer superhuman there. It has so many things to offer about the wilderness that it is really great to just go out there because, living in LA or living anywhere around these areas where you don't see nature that often, as sad as it sounds, it's amazing to be somewhere super green because urban life it drains you. Upon coming into it, like me and my wife, we had a great time just walking around, seeing everything that they have to offer. Going to the desert garden, that's the one we went to first. It looks pretty nice. It definitely kind of lowered our expectations in a sense. Not too fantastical. The next place where we went to is the lily ponds and the jungle garden. And that place looked amazing. It was really great. And it was just so nice to be in a wide open space as well. And in the lily ponds, like they have a bunch of wildlife too. So they have a bunch of koi fish, sea turtles, anything else. Not sea turtles. What are they called? Turtles?
I don't know. Just not sea turtles.
Regular turtles. Not sea turtles. Land turtles. Those turtles.
No, pond turtles.
They're called pond turtles?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know they were called pond turtles. The more you know. Those turtles that we saw are called pond turtles because guess what? They are in the pond. Makes sense that that's how they name sea turtles as well. But anyway, moving on. Next up, we went to the Japanese garden, and the Japanese garden was amazing. We went and we saw a bunch of bonsai trees and their little exhibits that they had. That was really cool. We also saw like this model replica of a Japanese house that they had over there. Oh, it's really neat that they have a lot of this, and especially honoring the culture, the Japanese culture. I really liked the Japanese garden. I definitely feel that it was relatively small compared to the other garden which we went to, which is the Chinese garden. And now the Chinese garden was massive. It was like huge. There was so many structures and so many areas to like walk around, go through nooks and crannies and seeing everything over there. It was a really good time and it was actually really beautiful to just be in that garden area. In 4 places around the Huntington Library, there's a bunch of cafes, and in the Chinese garden, they would serve traditional Chinese food. There's also exhibits that you can go inside some of the buildings and you can see a bunch of artwork. We saw calligraphy, Chinese calligraphy. The next place that we went to the botanical labs. So once you walk in there, it is so humid, but it is so cool because you can walk on different levels. You see like there's a little fish tank. There's a bunch of different science experiments in each of the room. Part of like a group trip or a school trip would have been really fun because there's a lot of science experiments and informational fun things for kids to do. Even we went to the children area afterwards and that was fun. There was like little tiny doors that we had to crouch down to go through because we're obviously not kid sized. Next up, we went to the Shakespeare garden, which had a bunch of different statues, and we also went to the rose garden, which like lined the area full of roses. Those 2 areas were really cool and we definitely should have spent more time there because we had to go quickly after that. We did get to go inside the actual library and see some of these science exhibits. We saw some old science journals from way back then, or maybe like 50 years ago, maybe 100 years ago. Those were really cool just to see and how they preserved them in the sort of museum area. We also enjoyed just even going to the Huntington store because the gift shop was like super fancy. Again, everything is quite expensive there. If you're expecting to be there, the whole day, just know that some of the food is quite pricey and they don't actually let you smuggle in things or smuggle in snacks and things to the gardens because again, it's like a closed environment, closed ecosystem. They don't want you bringing in your Philly cheesesteak sandwich and throwing it in the pond or something like that. But just keep that in mind. I mean, we saw there was a bunch of sandwiches that were easily like $20 or around that price. The art gallery that the Huntington Library has, again, we didn't see all of it. Definitely a lot of the places were closed due to COVID back when we went. So it was unfortunate we couldn't see everything in those art galleries, but definitely having all those available as well as the gardens is like a huge bonus, especially if you love going to museums, love seeing art. If you want to go explore the gardens, I recommend spending an entire day there because the hours for non-members are 10 o'clock to 5 p.m. every day, except Tuesday because they hate Tuesdays. Tickets that we had were like $25 for the whole day per person, which is great. Not too bad, but if you're planning to spend the whole day there, that's totally worth it. There is a membership that you can pay $200 for, which encompasses the whole year, which you can come a little bit earlier to the park, so you can start at 8 a.m. rather than 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's also a bunch of different membership benefits and store and coupons that you get for just being a member. Another thing I want to talk about though, part of the membership, but also just part of the library in general, is the events. They actually have a lot of events for the library as well. A lot of these events are actually members only, but some of the larger events they have available to members only and then also to the public. I know that they've shown movies, they have different exhibits, different like themed concerts and other things like that, like this past New Year's. A lot of the events also don't happen during the normal business hours of 10 to 5, they actually happen afterwards. I do want to talk about one event that we actually got the chance to go to. So tickets are normally $25 just to go to Huntington Library, but we went to the Halloween Strange Science event back in, October 2021. That was a really fun time because we got to see a bunch of different science experiments. One, we got to go at night to the Huntington Library, so we couldn't see much of the gardens, but the area that they had, that was super nice. We also had our own costumes for that night because again, it was Halloween. We got to see a bunch of other people dressed in their costumes. There was a crazy light show that they did as well using a Tesla coil. That was really fun. And there was also a bunch of different places where you can go and interact. There was like a photo booth. There was a giant poster of Nevermore. They had a bunch of food trucks. You can grab a bunch of different areas to eat, different meals you can have. They had a bunch of vendors. We had a chocolate cake that was actually really good, really good, that my wife has been asking about it, and we just have not found anything that compares to that one chocolate cake, and she's really sad about that. They also have a bunch of like fog machines around. There's different like sort of acts that you can watch. We also got to go in there and see a rendition of Sweeney Todd by the LA Opera. That was pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to, be like a long form of the entire Sweeney Todd story. So that did eat up a chunk of time. I do think the themed events are really cool, especially because they have such a large space that they can have a bunch of different things. That is the Huntington Library. It is a really nice place. I can't, brag about this place enough because I'm not even sponsored by it, but it's just so nice to get away and be out in nature. I would definitely recommend anyone to go to it if you don't even know that this existed like I didn't. Again, we went only 2 times to the Huntington Library. I would love to go there again, see the places that we didn't see during the day last time that we went, but that's pretty much it. Now, obviously, I'm gonna do, because I sort of set myself up with this in the first episode of Tomorrow Travels, I gotta do another music video that my wife is pressuring me into doing. So I'm gonna do that now. But thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like, leave a comment if you have any questions or any thoughts about the video as well, or even the Huntington Library. Have you ever been? Was it fun? Do you like it as much as I do? Because I lived in an urban setting my whole entire life, so let us know. Otherwise, subscribe if you want more of those videos, and I'll see you all in the next travel video. Bye-bye.